Andy Burnham will likely disappoint us all. Now, obviously, he's better than the previous offering of Keir Starmer, who had just about as much personality as a crumbling brick. But Andy Burnham, and with all the kind of the things going for him, the fact that he's from the north and how he wants to kind of concentrate power through regional kind of power centers within the country, and that would kind of like, in a way, act as a lightning rod to grab some of the people from the north. Andy Burnham, unfortunately, and this is it is a very clear indicator that he's like he's been put forward as a strategy, as a kind of strategic chess piece by number 10 in London, because number 10 in London know that Labour are done in the north. Labour are done in the north because they have betrayed the working class that they were behind following the thrashing that the Conservatives gave to the north of England, and you saw a very much disenfranchised, dilapidated towns with very little investment, and Labour concentrating all its power in London, but also not just in London, but through its support of a technocratic form of government, a form of government that is focused on its regional, international wars, like Tony Blair and his obsession with maintaining a partnership with the US, for example. And this was reflected in Keir Starmer, only that Keir Starmer wanted to give off a facade. He wanted to present himself as the one who resisted the push by Trump, only to support Israel in the end. He ended up just support. In fact, he not only just in the end, he supported the genocidal conditions when he said, yes, Israel does have the right to cut off food, water, electricity. So obviously Keir Starmer was just a politician's the sort of politician that every politician fears that he may be perceived as. This, because of course you hear about this on the street. Everyone has a bad experience with politicians. Politicians, you cannot be trusted. Just like used car salesmen cannot be trusted, or ambulance chasing lawyers cannot be trusted, because they're in it for themselves. And Keir Starmer was clearly a prime example of this. Now, how does Andy Burnham kind of match up in comparison to Keir Starmer? At least he has charisma. At least he has some sort of class awareness, which Keir Starmer purported to have some sort of class conviction when he believed in pledges upon which he became the leader of Labour Party, only to go back on them. And I believe this is what will happen to Andy Burnham, because unfortunately the real the real test right now is whether you can support, or rather oppose, the genocidal onslaught of Gazans, which is very much a something that everyone can agree with, or rather, vast majority of a thinking, intelligent population that should be historically pro-Labour people, pro-Labour constituents should believe in, that we should oppose a genocide. Now, if you can't say that with conviction right now, how can you say with conviction, when you're in power, that you oppose a rule by corporation? How can you oppose the rule by Palantir, or rule by AI, collaboration with genocidal states? How can you oppose, it just, I'm not Muslim, but it just so happens to be that the sorts of people who are actually putting up resistance against the rise of a genocidal armed AI kind of collaboration with Israel are the Zoran Mamdani's and Sadiq Khans of the world. And these are people obviously Muslim because, of course, they can see things more clearly. They can empathize more readily because they see what is happening to Muslims. They see what is happening to Palestinians, and the empathy can be stretched more easily for them because they are not otherizing the victims. They are seeing themselves in the victims, which everyone who has lived in a kind of seen the other side of the oppressor can understand. It just happens that this also includes people who who associate themselves with the Abrahamic religions, who constantly use the Holocaust as a reminder of why we must support and protect Jewish people. But the buck for a lot of these people who are right wingers, who are Zionists, the buck stops with only their tribe. They don't want to extend that empathy towards other tribes, which is shocking. It's shocking. This is a form of cry bullying, where you constantly cry and play the crocodile, crocodile tears. You cry the crocodile tears, but you are not doing any service to the world. You're doing it for yourselves, which is morally bankrupt, and it's disgusting. But let's go back to Andy Burnham. If he cannot say with conviction he supports or opposes the genocide of Palestinians, then how can he say with conviction that he supports the dignity, the rights of the working class up north? Because in the end, if you believe in equality, then that should extend irrespective of where you're living. And if you're constantly making adjustments and you're capitulating and you're constantly hesitating, then you will hesitate in when it comes to class consciousness, where there's more room to negotiate. So anyways, more news for the future. Hope you like this video. Please like, comment and subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated.